motherfucking button.
Hello, everyone. Goon has pushed the button.
The motherfucking button.
Welcome back to another episode of Nerds That Know. Tonight it is Tank, Duchess, and Goon. King Goon is in Nashville, I think it is. He is a professional drunk who just gets to go all around the country tasting different types of alcohols, so that way he knows what we're going to be serving in various restaurants. So right now, while we're sitting here talking to you and sharing our nerdiness and our geekiness, he is currently out at a bar in Nashville watching live music. So to King Goon, you suck. So let's go ahead and kick it off with, I was on MSN for work today, and there was an article that popped up that was like the 30 best Saturday morning cartoons of all time. And I was like, oh my God, I loved Saturday morning cartoons, right? Because you would wake up earlier on a Saturday than you did for school just to go down to watch the cartoons. Okay. So I read their list, and it's wrong. But I thought that we could at least come up with our top three each. But while you're thinking about what those are, let me explain to you how wrong this list is. All right. So coming in at number 30. Now, these are the best cartoons of all time.
Specific to Saturday mornings, right?
Saturday mornings.
Okay.
It's a list of 30?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Hammerman.
No.
Which was a short-lived MC Hammer based
Yes, it was.
show.
New Kids on the Block.
Which is also wrong.
Right? You see where I'm going with this. The Star Wars Ewoks.
That's fairly recent.
No. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures.
Wait. No, the animated series was not that good.
No.
Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
I'll put that one on the list. That show is fantastic.
Thundercats.
Mushmouth is one of the most underrated characters in history.
Thundercats, I'll agree with.
Thundercats
Yes.
will be on there.
That's really low on the list for
I
Thundercats.
totally agree with Gem and the Holograms.
Gem and the Holograms is fine.
The Smurfs, whatever.
I'm
you know
fine
how
with
we
that.
all feel about Smurfs.
I saw him yesterday. He came into my job. Anyways, carry on.
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Loved it.
He'd be on there.
Muppet Babies.
That one definitely has to be on there.
Yeah. The Tick.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with that one.
This one really made me think of you, sweetie. DuckTales.
Oh, yeah.
Launchpad. When I was in college, my college nickname from pretty much everyone was Launchpad.
Jeez.
It was awesome.
Okay. SpongeBob SquarePants has made the list.
I'll put that one on there.
It's good, but does that qualify as a Saturday morning cartoon?
I don't think so, but it's on the list.
So a lot of these aren't really Saturday morning cartoons. Like if you get the Ewoks, like isn't that just a Disney show?
No, that
It
was
was
actually a
originally.
cartoon in like the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was originally. I might have been a Saturday morning one, but I don't
But
remember.
even the Tick wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon. That was like a Thursday night cartoon.
Yeah, it was on between. Wasn't it on like right before Duckman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Mom loved the Tick.
I was a big
She
fan.
would just run around, spoon.
Yeah. I did that for-
Still loves the Tick, honestly.
You know.
Yeah.
And I saved the world again. Really? Can you prove it? Well, we're still here, aren't we? Okay.
Deflator mouse.
Slimer?
Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters is number 6.
Yeah, that one's absolutely fine.
Scooby-Doo. Super Friends.
That one's pretty high up on the list.
That's pretty high.
These are top 5. Top 5 are Super Friends, Scooby-Doo, Batman, the animated series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2, and I will agree with this, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay. I'll go
And
with that.
number 1, Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner Hour.
Where the fuck is Transformers? Are you fucking kidding me?
Transformers are not on the list.
Oh my god, that list is atrocious.
I told you
Yeah.
it's bad.
That's really bad.
There are like maybe 10 on here that I agree with.
Really, really fucking bad.
I didn't hear Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons is
Tiny
not on
Toons is
here.
not- Merry Melodies, come the fuck on. Those
Not
are
on
classic
here.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Bobby's World is on here.
Fuck
That was a
Bobby's
good one.
World. I
was
actually
a good
enjoyed
one.
Bobby's World.
Yeah.
But they're not even, if we're going to do all these Saturday morning cartoon type shows, we're missing a few on here.
We're missing
We're
a
missing
lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've seen the list that is wrong, let's go ahead and go around. Tank, you start. What is your number one? And it doesn't have to be any particular order, just in case you think of something as we're going through.
Mhm.
It's going to be like delving into nostalgia.
Oh, one of the ones, one of my favorites is actually one that got mentioned, thankfully, and that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I loved
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah, that's got to be on the list of the top 3 for sure. The first one that came to mind for me, and it's not because. Okay, let me put it this way. This series was a Japanese series that came over to the United States. And by the time they got it on TV on a Saturday morning after it was on after Turtles or something like that, they forgot what they got. So the number one series that's not on that list, Evangelion. That was a Saturday morning cartoon. I don't know if I know Duchess hasn't seen it. Tank, have you seen Evangelion?
Oh, yeah, long ago, but yes.
That started in America as a Saturday morning cartoon. When they dubbed it and brought it over, that has to be on the list because as soon as they got to episode 3, they realized that they had fucked up, and then they had to play the whole series anyways. That is not a kid's show.
No, it's not.
Evangelion is on my list.
All right. I'm actually going to go with one that also made the list, but I think it's way too far down. And that is Gem and the Holograms. I fucking love that show. I will still watch that. I have some of the music from Gem downloaded on my phone. And I will never forget there's an episode where they're in Hawaii and they're running through a volcano right next to the river of lava. Right? And Gem goes, "Oh God, we have to," or she's like, "Hurry up, Mount Anamanahuhu is about to erupt." So Mount Anamanahuhu, well, they're running next to the river of lava.
That's a good one.
Absolutely Gem and the Holograms.
I guess another one for me. Okay, so it's kind of 2 in 1, just because one of them started on the other one, but it's Animaniacs, but specifically Pinky and the Brain.
Absolutely.
I loved Pinky and the Brain. That was my favorite segment of the Animaniacs every time.
We were actually just discussing Pinky and the Brain Sunday night.
One is a genius, the other one's a genius too.
And how Pinky is the embodiment of the fan theory about Jar Jar.
The secret genius.
Yeah, because
But
if you go
it's
to
true.
well, because like this season or the series finale of Pinky and the Brain, you find out that Pinky actually works for Narf and has been put in the same space as Brain to foil all of his plans. So he just acts like an idiot
to fuck everything up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and that is basically the Jar Jar is, a Sith, fan theory, but cooler because it's Pinky and the Brain. All right, my love, your next one.
I can't believe this wasn't on the list. The Flintstones.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe that shit wasn't on the list. That's like the original Saturday morning cartoon.
I always
one of
loved
them.
the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Were like back to back. And then when they did the crossover episodes.
The Hanna-Barbera cartoons in general got kind of shit on this list.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, the reason that we are doing this right now is because this list is wrong.
I didn't hear it on the list, but was Voltron on the list?
Yes, Voltron was number 13.
Okay, I'll accept that. As long as it's on the list.
But the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon also made the list.
That show sucked.
That's wild.
So I'm going to stick with the fact that I am such a fucking girl and say Strawberry Shortcake. Not the new Strawberry Shortcake where she wears pants and they all own little businesses, right? I like to call that one Strawberry Crap Cake. Original Strawberry Shortcake is freaking awesome. And there's songs and berry talk. And you have the peculiar purple pie man of Porcupine Peak. And yeah, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. So, Strawberry Shortcake.
Awesome. I guess Inspector Gadget.
Oh,
Yeah, that one got
good
shit
call.
on too.
And I didn't hear that one on that list, which
It
is
was
Not
unfortunate.
on here.
It wasn't.
Loved Inspector Gadget.
I always wanted to be Penny.
So I got a couple shout outs here. The first one is one nobody's ever heard of because it only lasted like 2 seasons, but it was my favorite as a kid, and that was Bravestar.
You have told me about that one.
Bravestar! Eyes of the hawk, ears of the wolf, speed of a puma. That one got left off the list. I also want to put what is it? Rubby Racers? What the racers? Wacky Racers?
Wacky Racers.
Another Hanna-Barbera cartoon that just
Yeah, I love that one too.
got fucking shit on. Another one that probably isn't going to get mentioned, Underdog.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck happened to Underdog? Are you kidding me? But the biggest snub on the list. Hey, boo-boo, where are you going with that picnic basket? Yogi Bear. How the fuck is Yogi not on that list, man? And Ranger Rick. By the way, I do a pretty good Yogi Bear impression.
I caught that.
Pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's right up there with my Chewbacca.
Nothing will ever be your Chewbacca because that odd, call of the Chewbacca is what made our nephew think that you're the best uncle.
Yeah. Chewbacca won Henry over.
Right. So there are definitely a lot of honorable mentions that should go on this list, but I'm going to say my last one, and these are not in any particular order, but
You're going to say SheRa.
yeah.
Because I thought about saying He-Man, and I was like, no, I'm just going to leave that up to you. There were just too many.
Yeah. But absolutely, SheRa. It did not get the love and attention that it should have gotten. He-Man is not nearly as cool as she is. Plus, he runs around in his underpants. And her sword, her sword can turn into anything.
That's fine. I get it. But He-Man running around in a bondage top and a fucking loincloth is not that big of a deal. I do that on home on the regular.
Yes, but honey, you're not doing it in front of children.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
technically, neither is He-Man. He's doing it in front of Skeletor. Skeletor's always got
Skeletor is way better than Hordak. I will give you that.
Skeletor's always giving He-Man the bone.
Oh my.
And on that note,
Skeletor.
yeah,
Yeah, I also did not. I did not hear X-Men on that list.
No, X-Men wasn't on there.
That should make honorable mention.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Heathcliff. That was one of my favorites. I loved
Heathcliff did make the list.
It did? I didn't hear it. Okay.
Well, I didn't read all 30.
Okay.
Was
Yeah,
Garfield
Heathcliff.
on there?
Love Heathcliff.
Yes, Garfield is on here.
Okay. Well, they didn't completely fuck up, but they mostly fucked up. It's like 90% fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 98% fucked up.
Is Darkwing Duck on there? I heard DuckTales, but not Darkwing
Darkwing Duck is not on here.
Gummy Bears?
Nope.
What about
That one was wild.
Tailspin?
No.
That's a
All
good
of
one
those
too.
fucking Disney cartoons got shit. Hanna-Barbera and Disney got shit on that list.
How about Doug? Doug not on there anywhere?
Please say
Doug
no,
is
Doug.
not on here.
Thank God. That show sucked.
I like Doug. Specifically, I liked Quail Man.
What about Arthur? Arthur was a Saturday morning cartoon at first.
Arthur is not on here.
It became an after-school show, but it was a Saturday morning cartoon at first. They fucked up bad.
Eek the Cat is on here.
That's a good one too.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Now I want to just talk about cartoons the rest of the night. Because then you can go into the after-school specials, like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and what are some of the other, Ed, and Eddie, Rugrats, all those Cartoon Network shows. God, they were good.
How about Captain Planet? I didn't hear that.
Oh,
one.
I love
Captain Planet was great.
Yeah.
With our powers combined. And everybody knew that the Heart Kid was really gay. And the Water Girl had got to talk to dolphins and she had blonde hair. And I thought that was awesome because I had blonde hair.
And you like dolphins.
Did you talk to dolphins?
She tried to when we were in Bermuda. I had to hold her back. We could get into the dolphin, expose, whatever.
Expose?
Yeah, they were naked. Where the people were feeling up the dolphins and letting the dolphins feel them up.
There's actually a couple more low-key ones. Pokemon was a Saturday night cartoon when it first started.
Yeah.
Or Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh was a Saturday morning one.
Yu-Gi-Oh should be on that one for sure.
Jackie Chan Adventures was a Saturday morning one.
That one was okay.
I liked it. It was fun.
It was all right. What about the original Ghostbusters? That should be on there just because of the fucking memeability of it.
Mm-hmm.
It only lasted, like 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Didn't the same thing happen with Men in Black?
Yeah. Did you ever watch any of the original Ghostbusters?
Mm-hmm.
Not Ghostbusters,
the
real
Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yeah, but not the real Ghostbusters with Slimer. The people who beat the Ghostbusters cartoon to the Ghostbusters cartoon name, which is why they had to call themselves the real Ghostbusters in the cartoon. There was a Ghostbusters show that came out as well, and it was not as good.
It was not.
But it lasted a couple seasons. It was basically a bunch of people carrying vacuums around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, when I got up, I heard Tank mention Pokemon starting out as a cartoon. So we're going to use that as a segue.
Yay!
And go into whatever it is you guys want to talk about Pokemon. I do have some notes because I tried to be, somewhat knowledgeable about what's going on.
I'm on a segue.
I see that. But I still have no freaking clue.
Yes, there was a Pokemon Direct yesterday. Yes, yesterday. And
I
which
thought it was Monday, but something like that.
Was it
Anyways.
Monday?
It could have been yesterday.
Oh, it's
Doesn't
either
matter.
Monday or yesterday. Whatever.
Sorry.
And they announced a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
All of their games are getting updates for basically for the Paldea region, which is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a full trailer for the Pokemon Scarlet DLC stuff. And there's technically 3 pieces, I guess, but it starts off with the Hidden Treasures of Area 0, which comes out in September.
Right, I saw that.
And then they're doing another one that's, I guess, connected to that one called the Teal Mask.
Like, they really like colors for stuff.
It's
Yeah,
always been
but-
various forms of red and
But
blue.
it's like, black. It says even if Pokemon Black and White remakes aren't coming this year, Scarlet and Violet players can start the hidden treasure of Area Zero with the first part, the Teal Mask.
Yep.
And the second part of this DLC is still scheduled to arrive in winter 2023.
And that's the Indigo Disc.
See? I did research.
Yeah, the Teal Mask seems to be, it's your character, because it's all based around schools, your character's traveling to another school, essentially. At least that's what the Indigo Disc one is. And yeah.
And there's a bunch of new Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like,
they brought in a bunch of new ones.
looks like there's a fucking evolution of what the fuck is that dumb shit, dragon shit from Gen.
There's a new Applin evolution, in addition to the two that there already were, which was Appleton and Flappy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then isn't there a new trainer?
Well, that's part of the thing. They didn't really give away too much information on that, at least not that I saw.
Okay.
No, but there's also a staple remover.
Okay.
There's a new Pokemon that looks exactly like a staple remover.
Nice.
It's in the video.
Well, and then apparently the Gen 9 Pokemon are being added to Pokemon Go starting in September.
Yep.
Pokemon Go and Niantic fucked up again and skipped a lot. It skipped most of Gen 8.
Yeah, they skipped a big chunk of 7 and 8.
Yeah, and they're going straight to the shit that just came out.
I wonder if that's access they were allowed to stuff, because I'm assuming everything they do, they have to kind of relay through the Pokemon Company, I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sure they absolutely do.
But yeah, Pokemon Go, for those of you who still play.
For those of you who still enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, don't play it. Fuck. Stop making yourself miserable. Stop it. Get help.
We still know quite a few people who play it.
If you're that miserable about a game, you shouldn't be, because it's a fucking game.
For those of you playing Scarlet and Violet, there's also a current promotion where you get a free Mew with a random terrestrialization.
This is courtesy of our friend, the Toaster. I'll send it in the chat. But the Pokemon Company has released, in addition to everything else, a new stuffy. It's a Wiglet.
It kind of looks like it's supposed to be a sex toy.
Let me see it. Oh, good lord. That's a penis.
That's the Wiglet.
That's a penis.
Yeah.
It's a stuffed penis.
Yeah. That is a mountable dildo, is what that is. That doesn't look like the Wiglet, which looks like one of those fucking little baby eel things.
That's gouch. Okay.
It even has a red tip.
Of course it does. Also, they're bringing to, as part of their announcements, they're bringing, what was it? The Pokemon trading card game and Pokemon Stadium 2 for the Nintendo Switch Pass people. So, there you go.
There you go.
All right. So that's Pokemon stuff. If there's anything else that we missed, please let us know. If you're excited about any of these new Pokemon developments, also let us know. I honestly don't really know Pokemon stuff other than we have a bunch of it in my house. So let's move right along.
Did I tell you what Joe put in my book?
No.
1010 Shiny Rayquaza.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, carry on.
And one of the other entries in the book is saying that for the first year of knowing of Goldagoon, she thought he was a Pokemon because she'd never actually met him.
Yeah, my friends were talking about me while I weren't there, and they kept saying Poffle has this, Poffle has that. So she just assumed I was a Pokemon.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then she met my parents.
So yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, now I work with her 5 days a week.
Okay, so going over absolutely nothing Pokemon related. HBO is going to be releasing a parody series of Marvel and DC movies. So it's basically, the behind the scenes of making a superhero film and all of the terrible things that could possibly happen. It's how exactly does the cinematic sausage get made? Because every fuck up has an origin story. So the show is called. I thought I had it on here.
It's the franchise.
Thank you, the franchise. And work on the pilot was done before the SAG-AFTRA strike began, and they're not going to work on production until the strike is obviously concluded. But they have the pilot, and it's how to tackle superhero fatigue. Is this mini series? Don't know if it's going to be a long-lasting series or not, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, another show making fun of superheroes essentially.
Yeah.
Which
But this time it's making fun of people who like superheroes
exactly.
Yeah.
instead of the superheroes themselves. And since we're going to be making fun of Marvel, let's go ahead and jump over to Secret Invasion.
It was not terrible. It was mostly good. Not sure how I feel about how everything ended in that show, but it was kind of cool seeing Fury on the streets again, kind of leading the mission, leading the charge. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was nice to see a Nick Fury show.
Amelia Clark's character is pretty cool. It's weird that they turned her into essentially Super Skrull at the end. But I'm hoping that doesn't, hopefully that continues on then if they're going to make her that important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just love her as an actress. Plus, watching her on like the Graham Norton show, she seems like somebody I would want to hang out with.
We found out that for an undefined amount of time, Rhodey has been a Skrull. We don't know exactly when that started, but apparently for at least a little bit, it's been a Skrull posing as Rhodey for a while. So,
Yeah, and it could be a long time. You don't know.
it could have been as early as Civil War after he broke his back.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure exactly when. They didn't really give you a timeline on how long it's been, but
Right.
It's been a while.
Well, apparently, Secret Invasion is supposed to have a major part, or at least, of the storyline as the next round of movies come out. You need to watch this to understand that. But Disney and Marvel are saying that they're stretching the creative teams and the audience attention way too thin. And so there most likely will not be season 2 or any continuation of Secret Invasion.
Which makes sense that you don't really need to at that,
No.
You kind of uncovered
different movies and other things that you can, cover parts of the story with.
Exactly. And you uncovered the big scary invasion thing that now we know that there's, roughly 1 million scrolls on Earth,
Yeah.
and they're actively being hunted now, if you're even assumed to be a scroll, which is kind of an interesting idea. I mean, what who are they going to go after at this point?
Right.
Are they going to make everybody do a blood test?
I'm assuming, yeah, because we know that at some point in this storyline that the president that was in that show is not going to be president, because we already have in the future timeline they've shown that Thaddeus Ross, who's now going to be played by Harrison Ford, becomes president of it
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to have a little bit of a character change there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to think about it. Like, how would you determine? Everybody has to go through, and to enter into a building, you have to like prick your finger.
Well, and they've been able to mimic DNA, so even that won't work. You have to find a new way to determine.
Okay, everybody has to chop off their baby finger.
Yeah, exactly. If you bleed green,
and if
then
it
you
turns
die.
green when your finger gets chopped off,
Then you lose your head.
Then that way everybody's just walking around
Fingerless.
Short a finger. Although you would think, because the scrolls can then like look
They
like
just replicate someone without a finger. Yeah.
Right. And they just hey, at least we know that Mama Sue was not a scroll. Huh?
No,
There
we
you go.
don't, because have you seen the finger?
I was actually,
Okay, well then you know.
I mean, I was like,
unless you're a scroll,
I was all of like 3.
and now you're covering up for her.
That means you have sex with a scroll.
Send help.
Well, I mean, so did Nick Fury, so there you go.
Yeah, right. Forever. He was married to one. Dog. No.
Okay.
Come here.
All right. So, while Dog is being insane because apparently there's another animal outside.
Probably a mailman.
And yes, our dog does answer to the name Dog.
Dog.
No. Sandy Dog. Who is also named after Johnny Dangerously. She is Sandra Dangerously. So Sandy D. Anywho, she's being crazy, so let's move on to another bit of insanity, and that is Loki season 2. I thought that the first season of Loki was much better than I had anticipated. It was interesting, and let me just tell you, the number of cosplays that have come out of that show.
They touched on a lot of the Taika Waititi, Thor funny, with like Crocodile Thor and all that stuff. Or Crocodile Loki and all that stuff. But then there was a lot of really dark stuff in there. And I really enjoyed that show. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the next season.
I hope that the second season of kind of what it looks so far based on the trailer that they released gives more agency to Loki, the character Loki, than it did in the first season, because that was the only issue I had with the first season, was it could have been literally anybody.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But I think the first season they were also still world building.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm just hoping that you get more of Loki needs to be the center of this story for some reason.
You want more Loki in a Loki show?
Yeah. Well, it's not even the amount. It's that the story needs to be based around him, which it looks like it is based on the trailer. It looks like it is going to be more focused on Loki responding to the universal collisions that are taking place.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like that was a common, reaction to season 1, is what you're saying about Loki. So it's nice that it's been heard. And even if it's not, coming from the fans feedback, the fact that we're gonna get more.
Yeah, and it looks good, and I like that they're seemingly hopping through time uncontrollably because of all the collisions that are happening in between the universes. That's kind of cool that he's time hopping essentially.
Yeah.
And
Like
universe
Doctor
hopping.
Who.
Exactly. That'd be a wild crossover. Do you think they're gonna? I don't think they're gonna do that one.
No, probably not.
That would be really cool. I'd be in for it.
Even if just like while they're showing like the universe and space and everything, there just
You just see
happens
the-
to be a little
yeah.
a little blue box,
Oh my god! I hope they pay for
Loading
just
tabs.
that. Yeah.
like nothing else.
Oh, the music. You got to have the little stinger as it's going through. What's for
But
2 second stinger? Yeah.
As long as there's a whooshing sound, I'll be okay.
Exactly. Just the little whoosh as it's flying by, and you're like, oh wow, okay.
When Matt Smith does that noise,
Uh-huh.
it's one of the best parts of the show. It doesn't make the noise. What's the noise? I'm gonna die. It's fine.
okay, please don't die.
It's fine.
All right. So yeah, season 2 of Loki premieres on October 6th.
Mhm.
It is going to be a 6-episode season, and episodes will be released weekly on Fridays.
There you go.
Fridays. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing I do appreciate about the way Disney is handling Marvel on the small screen is the weekly release. I think that's something that other streaming services could do, but you also have the opportunity to binge, once it's all there.
Which is what I usually do.
See, and that's the thing. I like that they're doing like not everyone's doing the same thing. I like that some of the stuff is week to week, and I like that some of the stuff is just a drop of everything, so you can just binge your way through it if you feel like it.
Well, I mean, I sat and watched all of Queen Charlotte, the Bridgerton prequel. I watched that whole thing in one afternoon.
That's impressive, actually.
It was amazing.
That's really impressive.
Okay. So moving on, I'm going to skip this next one and we'll come back to it. The John Wick trailer has dropped, and there is now going to be a TV show for John Wick. This is set in the 70s.
Yep.
Prequel.
Yeah, it is the prequel. And the Hitman-friendly establishment in the main setting of the 3-part event series titled The Continental from the world of John Wick.
Yeah, you're going to have a... it's going to be seemingly based around the Continental and Winston and Charon as the main characters.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because, people really wanted to see, how that got set up. So actually, I am actually kind of excited about it.
So one of the things that, and I don't remember which one of the creators was saying this, but because I pulled the quote and I forgot to get who said it on my notes here. So it's the challenge for me was capitalizing on television's ability to deliver longer form storytelling and deeper character arcs. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about, the small screen, is the fact that you do have the time to do those deep, character dives and world building, because you can, in theory, have an entire series or season, all compiled together to make this one cohesive storyline. So it can be an 8-hour-long movie just broken into bits.
Albert Hughes is the
Thank you.
guy doing that. He's the executive producer and director of a couple of the episodes. And also, I believe he made Menace to Society. So
Okay.
that's interesting. It's an interesting transition.
All right. Well, Goon had to go and take Dog out because she had to go potty, which is appropriate since we're talking about John Wick and dogs are important. Let's jump over to Futurama. Is going to have season 11 coming out.
It started.
Yeah, because it started last week.
24th, I think, is when it started. 25th, something like that.
The end of July.
Yep.
It's. I enjoy Futurama, but it's crazy to me how long this show has been lasting, and the fact that it's kind of like a phoenix.
Yeah, it got canceled.
When it dies, it comes back.
10 years ago, the show was canceled, and then they did a couple of movies to follow it up, and kind of spread out every couple of years. And the first episode of the new season is basically jumping off the last movie ending, essentially.
Yeah, so a television series that now spans 4 decades, 3 platforms, and 5 presidents not named Nixon.
For those who don't know Futurama's history, Nixon is president again, except for he's Robot Nixon now.
So
yeah, he's just a head in a jar on
just
top.
a head in a jar on a giant robot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a 20 episode season.
Yeah, we're getting a full season.
On Hulu. So this is another, we're going to get one a week. And we're getting a whole storyline. Not sure if this is going to be where they try to bring the whole story to a conclusion, or if we're just going to keep going. Like I said, Futurama just keeps coming back. So, and not that that's a bad thing. Again, I enjoy it, but
I love Futurama.
I'm not sure if it's how far they're continuing it, but like I said, they're picking it up off of where the last movie ended. And it's kind of a rebirth episode. I've watched the first couple of them, and it is very very tongue-in-cheek, very poking fun at the television industry as a whole very quickly, which makes sense because that's kind of what they did anyway. They're a lot of what they did on that show, and it's, I guess, what would it be, first 3 runs technically.
yeah
Is very, very parody driven. It's making fun and poking fun of things that we experience now, except for it's 1,000 years in the future. So,
great news, everyone!
Oh yeah, that's immediate. It's immediate, and it's pretty hilarious actually. Even the first episode.
I'm pretty sure they got to start off with a lot of fan service, right?
Oh, there's a ton of it.
Like,
there's a ton of fan
in
service
there somewhere.
There's a ton of poking at their history and poking at the history of TV in general.
It is
and
so
the
funny.
idea of reboots gets pretty taken to the cleaners in the first episode.
Very nice.
It is so funny with that show too, because the guy who played Bender didn't get invited back to do the voice casting at first. And the fans raised so much of a stink that they had to bring him back.
Well, yeah, how are you going to do a different person,
Bender's, like, you could almost redo anybody else's voice. I mean, Hank Azaria covers a lot of them. But, like, how you can, like, Layla's voice or Leela's voice, you can have anybody do that, right? And Zoidberg is, that one's pretty easily done by anybody. Like, it's just a funny accent and a funny, lisp. So
sort
anyway,
of, but most of them are done by the same guy.
Right. But yeah. Bender, that is such an iconic voice. And you can't bring him back. So the fans put a kibosh on that for him, and they ended up having to bring him back. So. Cheers.
Yeah, John DiMaggio returned for Bender, and then Billy West makes up half the cast, basically.
Right.
And then Phil Lamar did return for Hermes, and
Nice.
so that was really cool.
I always find it so interesting when you have a single voice actor who's playing so many different parts. I was watching Graham Norton and the Family Guy, the dude.
Seth MacFarlane.
Thank you. Was talking about how, like, you know, when they're doing a round table, he's all of his characters.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when they're recording for the show, he goes into a studio and does just everything as like Stewie, and then goes in and does everything as Peter. But
that's like Hank Azaria covers a lot of voices too.
Right, it's so interesting looking at, you know, because I've seen him riff off of himself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in conversations.
I love that when he does that.
Right, it oh my god, or when he does karaoke in his voices.
Oh yeah, the karaoke's great.
Right.
Well, Brian's voice is basically his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which makes it funnier to know that the only person he's using his own voice for is the dog.
Yeah.
In one of the Graham Norton interviews, he was like, so if you just go in and, you know, and try to get into character for each of these individuals, you know, as you're recording for them. So when you're recording Brian, you just have to stand there naked. And he's like, yes, I do.
It'd be better if he dressed up in a dog suit, to be honest, rather than standing
Maybe he's
naked.
naked with a dog collar on. It could be a thing. All right.
Seth MacFarlane, are you a furry? Yes or no?
That's fantastic.
Or just
Bark
a nudist.
twice for yes. Get it? Bark because he's a dog.
Yes.
Like Brian. Brian's a dog. Bark twice.
All right, moving on. Strange New World season 2 has come to its conclusion, or actually is coming to its conclusion tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, but what we have seen already is Subspace Rhapsody, the first ever Star Trek musical episode. What's really interesting about this is their inspiration and, you know, their goal was to try to emulate Once More with Feeling from Buffy, which I think is one of the greatest musical episodes of a TV show.
That so fits, yeah.
I can think of all the musical episodes of TV shows I can think of. So there's, you know, that Once More with Feeling. There's the one in Scrubs that was really good.
Oh God,
that one makes me cry.
That was a good episode, though.
That was a great all the songs are written by Colin Hay, by the way, of Men at Work. But it takes a lot of balls to do a musical episode when you're not a musical show.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Carey pulled it off a few times.
That's true. They did.
He did like one a season almost.
Yeah, they
did a ton of them.
Somewhat regularly, yes.
Yeah.
But again, going with Once More with Feeling as the standard that they were aiming for, right? Mm-hmm. I have the entire album of Once More with Feeling on my phone. I will still walk around singing from that show. You know, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say they made history by being the only Star Trek with a musical episode.
They had a pretty good cast for a musical episode too.
They did.
They do.
They have a really good like theater background cast.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, that is true.
So yeah, the casting is great. The delivery, and we've already been told that, I mean, barring the strike and such, we are going to be getting a season 3 next year.
Yeah, I really hope so because this is my favorite piece of Star Trek. I really, really
loving
enjoy
it.
this show.
The only problem with this show right now is the fact that they only have 2 seasons. It's
That is
the
the
most
biggest
Star
problem.
Trekky Star Trek show of all time.
Like, it's so good.
I agree 100%. I love it. And yeah, we need more immediately. I know we're going to be waiting for quite a while at this point, but
Yeah. You know, the only reason that Deep Space Nine is above it right now, and the Next Generation is above it, is
because we have
because
more.
there's 7 seasons of each of one of those shows,
Mhm.
and there's 26 episodes in a season. There's just more content in all of these. Whereas this is, they're very compact episodes, but they're very meaningful, and every story is just brilliantly done.
Yeah, I think we could even get Papa Mac, or as the lovely dipshit calls him, Papa Sue, to get into Strange New Worlds. He believes that no Star Trek is Star Trek other than original series. But I think even he would like Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
It's so good though. You're getting the Pike story,
If Roddenberry was alive right now, he would be writing this show. It wouldn't have changed. This would be the same shit he'd be writing right now.
So we have a collection of stuffed koala bears that are each named after a Star Trek captain.
Yeah.
We even have a really derpy looking one named Janeway.
Yeah. The one that's Janeway looks like it hurts just to be existing.
Oh my god.
It's super derpy. So the whole thing started with a stuffed koala I got for Mark 2 years ago almost.
Yeah.
That was named Jean-Luc.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just evolved from there. So every night we sleep with Jean-Luc Picard and Christopher Pike.
Christopher Pike in the bed.
And Christopher Pike is
a hell of a dancer.
There you go.
He is. That Christopher Pike is one fucking badass dancer.
So yeah, if you follow, what is it? You're Still Powerful Time on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
Yeah. So if you follow Powerful Time on TikTok, you'll see the koala Christopher Pike jamming out, as well as our stuffed penguin. She's a big fan of rock music.
She loves heavy metal.
So, especially of the European variety.
Yeah.
Okay. So, since we've touched on it a couple of times, and I don't want to get political, but I am just going to say the SAG-AFTRA strike is hey, sweethearts.
Hi, Aunt Mimi. Hi, the ghoul. Hi, Duchess. Hi, the ghoul.
Go.
Hi, Aunt Mimi. Hi, Bobby.
Hi, girls.
Hello, my beautiful kindergartner.
I'm not kindergarten. I'm in 3rd grade. Maybe.
You don't need to yell that loud. They
I'm
can hear you.
kindergarten.
Yes.
Kindergarten.
I promise. It picked up the audio.
Sweetheart, I know you're in 3rd
No,
grade.
no,
I was
no.
talking to your sister.
Girl,
Okay.
Go.
Good night, girls.
Love
We
you.
love you.
Go to bed. I love you.
Love you. Is
Good
that,
dreams.
Mimi?
Yes?
Are those all the Build-A-Bears from Amelia's Mimi
You
Days?
don't have to get that close, sweetheart. I promise.
No, those are our travel teddy bears. But the 2 teddy bears and the unicorn are from Build-A-Bear. But Uncle Gonzo and I have, I think, 10 or 12 Build-A-Bears.
Hey,
Love
you. Go to bed. Close the door, please.
Love you.
Love you.
Yeah. So Uncle Gonzo and I do have many a Build-A-Bear. This is Mari. She is my travel teddy bear. And this is Mog, who is Uncle Gonzo's travel teddy bear.
Mog is the Klingon word for cake.
because when our niece tried to name the teddy bear for her uncle, she goes, "Name him Cake."
So I translated it into Klingon, and so now it's Mog, which is cake.
Which is much cooler than calling him Cake.
That's fun.
Okay, so the SAG-AFTRA strike, it is become such, WGA, SAG-AFTRA, everybody has just these public announcements. People are losing money hand over fist. Billy Porter, who is better known in theatrical circles, but has done a lot of movies and TV shows.
Oh yeah.
Like Billy Porter is amazing. Had to sell his house because he could no longer afford to keep it up.
Yeah. How
Right?
sad is that?
So he's selling his house because of this, right? It doesn't make sense. But, again, I don't want to get super political. It's crazy. It's crazy to me what's happening, that they can't just come to the table and talk. There is the current thought that if they were to sit down and actually have a negotiation on both sides, it would be a serious but a relatively short discussion, as opposed to dragging on. We've gone past day 100 of the strike. So, as we're talking about all of these TV shows that we're excited about to see, we may or may not ever see them because of everything that's going on. So, it's unfortunate, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to get political about all this thing. But they're right.
Is it okay if I get political about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm on the strikers side.
Oh, 100%.
I 100% on their side. These are people that work behind the scenes. These are people, that work in front of the camera that don't get the security that the bosses get.
Mhm.
That's as real as it is. They, sell scripts, or they or run the cameras, or whatever, whatever they're doing. There's no guarantee on their next paycheck, unlike the bosses of the companies.
It's the same thing like the extras, and now they're talking about you can get paid like this one-time fee to have your likeness scanned and then reused.
Yep.
And you'll never get any sort of royalties or anything off of your likeness being used. But let's just say there's an extra out there, who is really hurting for cash. Like, come in $5,000 one time, and then we get to use your face forever.
Well, and not the exact same thing, but they kind of did something similar with James Earl Jones, where they paid him for his voice rights, essentially.
Yeah.
Before he,
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's a little bit different.
No, it is a little bit, but it's it's along those same lines of they're trying to.
It's because of the technology.
Yeah.
It's like in the new Indiana Jones movie, whenever they backtrack or flashback to when Indy was younger, they actually just took his face from all of this footage that they have from everything he's ever done and placed that over his current face. So it wasn't like de-aging. It was just, they were able to use the technology to take old video of his face to put on top of his new face, so he still had his own face.
Well, and they did that with Mark Hamill in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He looked like a 20-year-old Mark Hamill, and it wasn't even him. It was some other person with his face imprinted on some other person's body to play that role.
Right. It's crazy what technology can do, and it's fantastic that we're making technological advances, but it shouldn't be at the cost of
The artists.
the people.
Yeah, it shouldn't be at the cost of the artists. They should be paid for their work, and they should be, so many of, and like a big chunk of the debate is these major companies, no matter who it is, whether it be Disney, Paramount, whatever, they pay people, one time, and they buy off a script off of them for, $20,000, and then go make a, $100 million movie off of it, and that's all you get is that $20,000,
Mm-hmm.
and that's happened a lot with the comic book writers, especially artists and writers are finally getting paid for a lot of their work, but so many of them didn't for so long, even in the Marvel movies.
Well, and one of the bigger deals that's happening right now is that if you talk about Disney, Paramount, whomever, right? They need to have the actors, they need to have the writers. Otherwise, their businesses won't continue to succeed. But then you have people like Apple and Amazon.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? And if they just stopped their streaming services altogether, they'd still be fine.
Yeah, and same for Disney. Or you think that even if they were to stop making new stuff, they have such a ridiculous catalog that they can pick and choose from and re-release or resell or redistribute at any point in time.
Yeah. I mean, it's everybody's, talk, well, not everybody. The big talk is, these are just rich people wanting to get richer, but it's not. These are the people who live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, there's definitely some actors that can just live off of what they have now. But
but those are the same actors who are supporting and helping those who are living paycheck to paycheck right now.
Yeah, and then they are. But that's what I was going to say. There's 1,000-fold of that are, like you said, living paycheck to paycheck, movie to movie, whatever they can get. Sitting in a writing room for 6 months to get one payday and then hope that it works out.
I am in support of the writers and the actors. They have not yet asked for any sort of boycott of streaming services or anything nationwide, but the direct quote from Kaiser is, if fans feel like doing that, fans should take that on. I think fans, without coordination, will begin to do that. So people will start canceling streaming and boycotting, and if that's what it takes. But let's move on to,
well, real quick about artificial intelligence. It's getting to the point where we're real close to the singularity.
Yes, be
You gotta
careful.
Be careful. Just saying. Sorry, that's all I got about that.
It's okay. This is just going to bring me to post-apocalyptic action. And Twisted Metal was released on Peacock on July 27th. This is a show based on a video game.
Shit, it's been out for a couple weeks now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was a full episode dump.
Did you watch any of it?
I've watched about half.
Is it worth watching?
I have enjoyed the hell out of it so far.
I really enjoyed the video games.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie is the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no shit.
Playing a character.
Will Arnett is the voice of Sweet Tooth.
Yeah. Yes, Will Arnett is the voice of Sweet Tooth, and the physical actions are being done by
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. I don't understand why they didn't let him use his own voice, because he's got a pretty commanding voice also, but
yeah,
it is kind of funny that they, through Will Arnett's voice coming out of him, that makes it kind of funny.
Well, it's like Lego Batman.
Exactly. Thomas Hayden Church is one of the main leads as Agent Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes place in this universe where essentially all electricity went out one day. It got depowered because of a bug in the system. Something got hacked into the system, and it caused just cities to shut down completely. And you have these cities that are kind of barriered up, and they have, the only thing that exists outside of those cities is criminals, essentially. And the only thing in abundance is guns and cars.
Yeah. With the help of a badass axe-wielding car thief, you'll face savage marauders driving vehicles of destruction and other dangers of the open road, including a deranged clown who drives an all too familiar ice cream truck.
Oh my god, and it's amazing. It's super funny in a very dark way. The dark humor is off the rails in this show so far.
It has to be, though, because that's the way the whole game construct was essentially to poke fun at post-apocalyptic shit and just be absurd as possible. And it is like, it's unlike anything I've ever. I don't think anybody's come close to anything like it since then.
The closest would have been when they did the Burnout series, when they started doing the Payback Burnout series. I think it's the only one I could
Oh,
think of.
yeah.
Where you could crash people and take them out of the race and stuff like that. But that's the closest that I can think of. I guess a little bit with Mad Max. When they made the Mad Max game, it was kind of like that, but an open world environment. That was actually pretty fun too, I would say that. But yeah, it is over the top violence, crazy, dark humor, and a little bit endearing storyline when these characters kind of interact with each other at certain points.
I'll have to turn it on. I've been looking forward to that. I didn't realize it already came out.
Yeah, and this is streaming on Peacock.
Yep.
We
I watched about half of it. So
we
far.
do have that.
Yes.
Fun.
All right. That is all I have for our talking points for tonight. Tank, do you have any last minute whatnots?
Not really, no. Not
All
today.
right. Now we know that Tank's girls are in kindergarten and third grade because they have told us.
And they will not have a full week of school until their fourth week of school.
Jesus
somehow.
Christ.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I was in school, I think I got like one day off a year.
Just what it feels like, right?
You get 7 days a week, 18 hours a day.
You get a week vacation for spring break, and you get a week vacation for Thanksgiving, and then 2 weeks for Christmas to New Year's, something like that.
We got a half a week for Thanksgiving most of the time because it was
half a week.
Wednesday. We'd have a half day Tuesday, off on Wednesday, and then come back Monday. 2 weeks for Christmas, a week for spring break. I think that was roughly, and then the
Labor Day, President's
Catholic
Day.
school, so we actually didn't have to be closed on the bankers' holidays either.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so like MLK Day, they were like, yeah, you guys can have off this year, but next year we might have you at school.
Well, and that one's until very recently. That wasn't, even then, that wasn't a guarantee until recently. I think it's a guarantee now for schools at least.
Well, and then you have some school districts like the Fountain Fort Carson, because they have such a strong military population there. They get off for Veterans Day.
Oh yeah, we get off Veterans Day,
but that's not a requirement.
No, the school, because we're also really close to a military base.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the students at Evans is where they go, and that's it's really close. And they get off so many days. They get a 2-week vacation for fall break.
But see, here's the thing: their summer is also a lot shorter than ours was.
True, they only get not even a full 2 months, actually.
Right.
Oh, really?
I think they get like a total of 6 weeks for summer break.
It's just about, I think it's almost exactly 8 weeks, but it's not quite 2 months. It's a couple days short.
Yeah. So
we had like
3 months.
Almost 3 months off. Yeah.
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 Basically June through most of August or halfway through August or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a bunch of events and things coming up. So come out and see us live and in person. We will be at Colorado Springs Comic Con, and that is August 25th through August 27th.
Yep.
We will be there in who knows what kind of cosplay, but come and find us. We will also be at Nandasukukan, or easier to say NDK. So NTK will be at NDK, and that is September 1st through 3rd, and that's happening up here in Denver. And then we will also be at Convergence Station, the Meow Wolf Denver, a couple of times next month. On September 6th, we'll be there for the Adultiverse, and it's so cool because the theme for next month is drag. There'll be fabulous drag performers going around. Goon's going to get all dressed up. It's going to be fantastic.
Are you going to do the Jon Snow White again?
No. Close, though. Something similar.
And
Probably sluttier.
then we'll be there on September 17th for the Liquid Lawn event. This is where we're going to have a bunch of food vendors, food trucks. So super excited to be working with Convergence Station. We had a chance to go there for the Adultiverse earlier this month. So you can check out our short video of that. We had some technical difficulties trying to get everybody in on that, but we have figured out solutions and workarounds. So that way, when we're there next month, we will not have nearly as much random swearing happening.
We'll have a 10-second clip of fuckity fuck fuck.
What's wrong with that?
That's all that went out. It was like a 10-second clip.
Yeah, I logged into our Twitch the next day, and that's what first pops up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was just kind of like, we're gonna keep it. You
So
know,
that's a real short. Yeah.
but we have about a 4-minute video out there with a bunch of clips and videos made by all of us that were there. So definitely come out and see us. NDK, Colorado Springs Comic Con, and Convergence Station. And with that, please follow us on all of the socials. We are Nerds That Know on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. I don't know. Pick a social. If we're on it, that's what we're there as.
Smooga booga.
We're not currently on TikTok, but
Or
that
Truth.
may be changing.
We're not on Truth.
Ooga booga. That's what we're on.
And
Sure.
we are not on MySpace.
Which
But
does still exist for those of you who think it doesn't.
I know, which is why it's funny.
That's wild.
Okay, so please follow us. We are live every week. We alternate between all of the crazy nerddom like we discussed tonight and all of the insanity that comes with sports and degenerate betting. So follow us at My Brother is an Idiot. Appreciate the magical fuck frog from Book of Mormon. This frog will change your life.
It'll cure AIDS.
Don't fuck a baby.
Fuck a frog.
I will cure your eggs if you fuck this frog.
Your eggs.
Yeah, eggs.
Okay. And on that note, bye everybody.